Social media can spread misinformation faster than a wildfire in drought season, and nowhere is this more dangerous than in international politics. Today, we're diving into how a completely false story about Venezuela's president spread across platforms and what it reveals about our relationship with truth.
You know what fascinates me about this particular case? The story spread to over 2 million viewers within just 6 hours, despite being completely fabricated.
That rapid spread really exposes something crucial about how we consume information today. When people saw posts claiming the U.S. had detained Venezuela's president, they weren't asking, "Is this possible?" They were asking, "Did you see this?"
Let me add some context here. We're talking about a claim that would have violated at least 3 major international laws and potentially triggered a regional crisis.
Exactly right. And here's what's particularly concerning. Studies show that false information spreads up to 6 times faster than accurate news on social media platforms, especially when it involves political content.
That makes me wonder, what is it about international political news that makes people so quick to believe and share dramatic claims?
Well, research from the Reuters Institute shows that about 76% of Americans admit they don't fully understand international relations, creating this perfect environment for misinformation to thrive.
That's such an important data point because it highlights how knowledge gaps become vulnerability points.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The real U.S.-Venezuela situation involves complex economic sanctions affecting over $6 billion in frozen assets, diplomatic tensions dating back decades, and carefully negotiated international protocols.
None of which makes for a viral TikTok moment, right?
You're hitting on something crucial there. The gap between complex reality and simplified social media content is where misinformation finds its sweet spot.
Let me share some sobering statistics. In Venezuela, we're talking about an inflation rate of over 400%, with more than 7 million people requiring humanitarian assistance.
Those numbers really drive home what's at stake here. While people are sharing sensational fake news, real families are dealing with serious challenges, and false hope can be incredibly damaging.
That reminds me of a recent study showing that exposure to political misinformation can increase anxiety and depression in affected communities by up to 30%.
You know what's particularly troubling? The way these viral moments often reduce complex international relations to oversimplified narratives, completely ignoring the nuanced realities of diplomatic relations.
Well, speaking of diplomatic relations, let's talk about how actual international law works, because I think this is crucial for understanding why the viral claim was so obviously false.
That's such an important point. Under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, heads of state have absolute immunity from arrest while in office. It's a fundamental principle of international law that's been in place since 1961.
And yet, social media algorithms continue to promote sensational claims over accurate information. Engagement rates for false political news are typically 70% higher than for accurate reports.
Let's talk solutions. What concrete steps can people take to avoid spreading misinformation? Research shows that taking just 30 seconds to verify a claim can reduce the spread of false information by up to 45%.
Those numbers are encouraging, but it's worth noting that only about 12% of social media users actually take that time to verify before sharing.
Here's something interesting. Platforms that have implemented fact-checking warnings see a 50% reduction in shares of flagged content. But the challenge is keeping up with the speed of misinformation.
That's exactly why media literacy is so crucial. Studies show that people who receive basic training in digital literacy are 63% less likely to share false information.
And you know what's particularly effective? Teaching people about specific verification techniques. Something as simple as checking multiple sources can reduce the spread of misinformation by up to 40%.
Those are impressive numbers, but let me add something about the human element. How this affects real communities.
The impact is substantial. False information about political situations can lead to a 25% increase in community stress levels and significantly affect decision-making about everything from financial choices to migration plans.
That really brings home why this isn't just about correcting false stories. It's about protecting vulnerable communities.
Looking ahead, what do you think are the most important steps we can take to combat this kind of misinformation?
Well, research suggests that combining technological solutions with human verification can reduce the spread of false information by up to 59%.
Those are encouraging numbers, and it shows that while the challenge is significant, there are concrete steps we can take to make a difference.
Let me leave our listeners with this thought. Every time we choose to verify before sharing, we're helping to build a more informed and responsible digital world.
That's the perfect note to end on. Remember, everyone, in a world where misinformation travels at the speed of a click, taking time to think critically isn't just responsible, it's essential for protecting vulnerable communities and supporting meaningful change.